great many Texans, a great many Americans feel that they don't have a voice. And so I hope to play some very small part in helping provide that voice for them. Madam President, I intend to speak in opposition to Obamacare. I intend to speak in support of defunding Obamacare until I am no longer able to stand. I'm reminded of a children's story. My wife Heidi and I are blessed to have two little girls, Caroline and Catherine, age 5 and 2. And one of my favorite children's stories, actually from when I was a kid, was The Little Engine That Could. The little engine that could, the train going up that said over and over again, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. You know, I have to say, if you listen to a lot of members of this body,